Good afternoon and welcome to the live broadcast of the Lunchtime News, coming to you live from our Montrose studios here in Bulawayo, the city of kings and queens. My name is Dora Ncube Nopumawungwa, interpreting the bulletin in sign language. We'll take a look at our first story. President Emmerson Mnangagwa is now in Seoul, South Korea, to attend the inaugural Korea-Africa Summit, which begins on Tuesday.
At exactly 4:30 Sunday afternoon, Korean time, that is 9:30 Sunday morning in Zimbabwe, the President, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa and his delegation touched down in Seoul, South Korea, almost 19 hours of flight from Harare to the Korean capital. He was welcomed by the Zimbabwean ambassador to Japan and Korea, Stuart Nyakocho, senior Korean government officials and Zimbabwean embassy officials. In the presidential delegations were Ministers Anxious Masuka, Stembiso Nyoni and Professor Mutule Ncube. Ministers Frederick Shava and Tatenda Mavertera were already in Seoul. The Korea-Africa Summit that begins on Tuesday has seen several African leaders jetting into Seoul. Zimbabwe has interest to tap into how this country has developed so rapidly to become a global economic giant, sitting at number 12 after a terrible war in the 1950s. The President, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, is expected to meet his counterpart, Mr. Yoon Suk Yeol, tomorrow before the summit, and 5 memoranda of understanding are expected to be signed, 2 by government and 3 by the Zimbabwe Chamber of Commerce. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, Seoul, South Korea.
50 upcoming young women entrepreneurs engaged in agribusiness activities have received training on how to improve their emerging projects.
In addition to the 6-month training, the women got an opportunity to pitch their projects before a panel of representatives of financial institutions and former beneficiaries of similar programs. The program, which is aimed at improving participants' ability to source funding for their projects, was jointly coordinated and rolled out by the United Nations Institute for Training and Research, UNITA, with financial support from the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, BADIA.
For me, the highlight of the program has been to understand how climate resilience can be integrated in value chains for a purposed opportunities that are there for expanding and increasing our profitability.
It has really raised my antennas in terms of ensuring that we have businesses that are green focused. At the moment, we have got a lot of climate change issues that are going on there, but we find that in Zimbabwe, business is not really incorporating green technologies into their businesses.
I've realized that there is a bias towards sheep farming in Zimbabwe, so I noticed a gap through this program that I've attended. I would want to utilize the indigenous sheep breeds that we have here in Zimbabwe.
Government through line ministries continues to accelerate sustainable and climate resilient livelihoods through development of small and medium agribusiness enterprises for women and youth in Zimbabwe. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, Harare.
Villagers in Bethel area of Gwanda South have commended the Second Republic for being cognizant of the people's needs after it had failed furniture and building materials for schools in the area.
One of the characteristics of the Second Republic, as enunciated by President Emmerson Mnangagwa, is servant leadership. The Bethel community of Gwanda South can attest to this characteristic after the local legislator, Honorable Umpile Marupi, who is also the Deputy Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, mobilized furniture and building material for Bethel primary and secondary schools.
Sibe siswela ukuthi singenza njani njalo labadala ngokuchayeka bengelazimali so sibona no-MP usiphakamise kakhulu.
Uqakatheke kakhulu ngokuthi angisathenga izitulo ngoba sengilazo sengiyathenga okulutshwane angisathenga izitulo endle.
Kuba lobunzima kakhulu mntanami ngoba abazali labo kunje indlalo uyayibona imali aziphume but lokho esisunduza sincenga ukuthi hayi imali ayibe khona.
The legislator reiterated government stance on inclusive development.
It's a way of motivating the young ones because future leaders. I came from here and we expect ukuthi kwanena kuphume ama-engineers ama-scientist la yikho sikhuthaza ukuthi izikolo ziyakhe ama-laboratories ukuze bagijime bahambe le-ND S1.
Matabeleland South has seen improvements in schools with the deployment of teachers having improved in the borderline areas like Chanyaugwe, Slonga and Buvuma, among others. Computers have also been provided to schools such as Ntepe, Garanyemba and Nkwale, among others. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News.
11 countries, including Zimbabwe, showcased their culture at the Zimbabwe Staff College Culture Day celebrations this Saturday.
The Zimbabwe Staff College was a hive of activity, with students from the institution showcasing their cuisines at their annual Culture Day celebrations.
Each and every country, we know that they have different cultures, they have different people. And to display, we learn from each other.
Culture is anybody's identity. Anybody without culture or without knowing your culture, then you don't know your identity.
This day is a great day for us because we happen to know each other, to understand the traditional from different countries and the life perspective.
Addressing participants and guests, Zimbabwe National Army Chief of Staff Defense Intelligence, Major General Thomas Moyo, said the commemorations provided a platform to celebrate the diversity of culture.
Through such interactions, we hope to foster social cohesion and interoperability among our defense forces. I implore all of us to jealously guard against neocolonialism by defending our people and their diverse way of life.
The 11 countries which participated include Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, Eswatini, Kenya, Malawi, Namibia, Nigeria, South Africa, and Tanzania. After showcasing their cuisines, Kenya emerged victorious among the countries that exhibited, taking the first position. Patience Nyagato, ZBC News, Harare.
And in news beyond our borders, the South African Independent Electoral Commission is expected to announce final results of the 2024 national and provincial elections this Sunday evening. In a statement from the presidency, proceedings are expected to begin around 5 p.m. at the National Results Operations Center at Kalaga Estate, Midrand. South Africans cast their votes last Wednesday in the 7th democratic election since the end of apartheid rule in 1994. The ANC is leading with 40%, followed by the DA with 21%, MK Party with 14%, while the EFF has 9% of the vote. President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to deliver an address as part of the results ceremony. Moving on to business news, analysts have commended monetary authorities for pursuing a policy stance which has ensured price stability since the introduction of the new ZiG currency on the 5th of April this year.
The latest inflation figures shows stable prices has given credence to the tenacity of the central bank's prudent monetary policy approach, which seeks to rein in unproductive money supply creation in a year that Treasury and monetary authorities are faced with a myriad of headwinds, including drought, softening commodity prices, and global geopolitical conflicts. Analysts have applauded the effectiveness of the policy measures that have created a stable pricing environment.
The currency realignment that was introduced, as well as other supporting policy measures that were implemented, are now yielding results. So, in a nutshell, I would say it's quite pleasing and it's quite amusing, and there's now need to move beyond stability to now sustaining the stability for medium to long-term growth and development initiatives.
The new ZiG currencies so far strike the right chord in maintaining exchange rate stability.
Ever since the coming in of the new Reserve Bank governor, we have seen that the exchange rate is stabilized. We have seen the new currency being introduced, and for that month or so, the exchange rate has been very stable. We have seen prices are now stabilizing, which is a welcome development. And it is important for the policymakers to maintain a tight monetary policy in order to keep the exchange rate very stable and so as contain inflation.
Markets have remained largely stable on the interbank foreign exchange market, while activities on the legal foreign exchange market have remained essentially muted on the back of efficient monetary authorities' interventions since the introduction of the new currency. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
Government has implored the business community to harness the conducive investment environment created by the Second Republic to contribute towards economic growth.
The Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce ZNCC Provincial Awards ceremony held in Mutare this Friday underscored the need for business to increase support towards the attainment of Vision 2030. Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services Minister Dr. Jennifer Mswere noted the need for business to scale up efforts that help achieve sustainable economic growth.
The more business people in Manicaland import finished goods instead of raw materials, the more we are not achieving in terms of a balance of trade.
Manicaland Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Advocate Misheki Mugadza, assured the business community of a conducive business environment in the province.
To you, local business people, come on board. It's open for business. You must be able to access opportunities without any limitations, so that as a province we can unleash your energy to create a better and prosperous Manicaland.
Award winners say focus should be redirected towards increasing productivity, innovation, growth of export receipts, and local currency support.
Nyika yeinoakwa nevanhu ayo, saka tinofanira kuti titange kubata basa panguva ine tiprovide stands to the people so that reduce backlog towns and cities atinogara.
Some of the winners include Businesswomen of the Year Mrs. Susan Peters, Businessman of the Year Mr. Tendaisa Urombe, and a special recognition award for Honorable Scott Sakupkanya. State-owned entity Allied Timbers was the most improved exporter. Zimbabwe Consolidated Diamond Company scooped the Mining Industry Exporter of the Year award, with Tanganda Tea Company winning the Agriculture Exporter of the Year award. Kenya's Chivuje, ZBC News, Mutari.
In sports news, the Zimbabwe women's cricket side, Zimbabwe A women succumbed to their first defeat in the Quebec Women's T20 International Tournament after going down to Uganda this Saturday.
The Zimbabwe A women could not maintain their terrific form in the Quebec Women's T20 International Tournament, which saw them winning their previous two matches at the tournament. Looking for a third successive victory against their regional counterparts, Zimbabwe looked a different outfit after being outshined by 75 runs by Uganda. Zimbabwe women failed to chase down Uganda's total after Proscavia Alako and Immaculate Nampina scored half centuries to give Uganda the momentum after batting first. Alako scored an unbeaten 62 runs, 10 runs better than Nampina, who was also unbeaten as Uganda women scored 165 runs for 2 in their allotted 20 overs to gain the ascendancy. While 165 looked like it could be chased given the form of the Zimbabwe women, the batsmen, just like the bowlers, failed to show up to the occasion as Zimbabwe could only manage 90 runs in 15.4 overs. Christina Mutasa and Kudzai Chigora managed to reach double figures, but their combined score of 30 runs could not match up to the mammoth 165 runs needed to cross the line. A catastrophic batting collapse handed Uganda the victory as Zimbabwe women were bowled out for 90 runs, 75 shy of the target, thus registering their first defeat at the Quebec tournament. The Zimbabwe A women are making their inaugural appearance at the regional tournament, which began in 2014 in Uganda. Reynaud Ngwarati, ZBC News.
Real Madrid withstood a Borussia Dortmund barrage to win the Champions League for the 15th time as Dani Carvajal and Vinicius Jr. struck late in a 2-0 win at Wembley on Saturday.
The breakthrough at last. It's a gift for Vinicius Jr. Goes out a winner. Dani Carvajal, yet again a winner.
And that report brings us to the end of this Lunchtime News Bulletin. From myself, Dora Ncube, Nobu Maunga, and the rest of the Lunchtime News team, good day.
Satani uyada utogwiswana naye. Munaona kuti Satani chaiye murebe wenhema. Kako matende magama.
Ndizvozvo.
Katotopedza nawo.
Imitokuziva izve maprayer warrior.
Akaisunawo.
Muchabvunzwikani. Haiwa ndimainda seisa zvechaiwo.
Chaizvo.
Gara mumweya.
Tiri pangu mwanangu uri seiko muyu.
Dzina njeri. Murura. Kumukomana waendewe.
Upi?
Sparo.
Kuchechi ndatomukira kuchechi Sparo.
Upiko megurimi.
Kwani ikoko? Anamukira. Kuseni senti nomutswa ndichinzi